Ja, nu är klockan 3:30. Halv fyra är den. Klockan är 3:30. Hej och välkomna till den här webbträffen som handlar om Sparks och Gleerups engelska 4-6. Jätteroligt att ni vill vara med oss här idag. Jag heter Marina Walker och jag arbetar som läromedelsutvecklare på Gleerups.
Och jag heter Monica Karlsson och arbetar också som läromedelsutvecklare på Gleerups.
Ja. Och om en liten stund ska ni också få träffa Jeremy Taylor. Jeremy är då författare till alla texterna i Sparks och Gleerups engelska. Och han kommer att berätta för er om hur ni kan arbeta med texterna i undervisningen och engagera och utmana era elever i det engelska språket. Så, då ska vi... Sådär, nu hoppas jag att ni ser vad jag ser också. Sådär. Så, nu är vi redo. Det här är då dagens program för de närmaste 30 minuterna. Först en liten kort information om vad Sparks och Gleerups engelska är. Och därefter kommer ni få träffa Jeremy Taylor då, som ska ge er lite tips och tankar på hur ni kan använda materialet i undervisningen. Därefter Jeremys lilla miniföreläsning så kommer vi ha en frågestund om det finns några frågor, och för att avsluta dagen så blir det lite information om erbjudande och var ni kan vända er om ni vill veta mer. Så, då ska vi se. Lite kort om Sparks och Gleerups engelska 4-6. Det är 2 nya läromedel, ett tryckt och ett digitalt. De är sprungna ur samma pedagogiska tanke och författares ord. Materialen har varit ute på marknaden i cirka ett år nu och jag hoppas såklart att några av er redan arbetar med materialet. Sparks 4-6 är det tryckta materialet. Det består i första hand av en textbok och en workbook. Textböckerna består i sin tur av 6 units med en övergripande rubrik. Man kan kalla det för ett tema. Varje unit innehåller i sin tur 6 texter uppdelat i 2 olika nivåer. En bastext part 1 och en mer avancerad text part 2. Alla texterna är till innehållet knutna till temat. Teman till exempel i årskurs 6 är då Hobbies and Passion, On the Move, News, The Arts, Footprints och English Spoken Here. Texterna har i stort ett autentiskt innehåll och är tänkt att inspirera eleverna att träna på och utveckla sin kommunikativa förmåga utifrån områden som de har nytta av både utanför och innanför skolans väggar. Varje unit introduceras med en presentation av innehåll och lärandemål. Och, Nej, nu gick jag fel. Där, så. Och till alla texter finns diskussionsfrågor som ska uppmuntra eleverna att motivera och ta ställning till sina åsikter. Så, workbook har en tydlig och återkommande struktur och övningarna ger eleverna möjligheter att träna läs- och ordförståelse och grammatik, på att lyssna, skriva, agera och leta information. Och förra veckan, eller om det var veckan innan det, så hade vi en webbträff med Katarina Svenning som är författare till övningarna i workbook och övningarna i Gleerups engelska. Katarina pratade om uppgiftsbaserat lärande med utgångspunkt i Sparks och hur lärare kan tänka kring att undervisa med olika uppgifter i fokus och inom ramen för vissa strukturer. Och den här miniföreläsningen kommer ni även att få ta del av när vi skickar ut den inspelade versionen av den här webbträffen. Det kan också sägas att lärarmaterialet i Sparks är digitalt i form av en lärarwebb och ger stöttning till lärare i allt från planering till genomförande och bedömning. Det finns också en elevwebb som innehåller ljudfiler och interaktiva övningar som kompletterar övningarna i workbook. I elevwebben finns också bastexterna i ytterligare en enklare variant. Det som vi då kallar för basic training.
Då tänkte jag prata lite om de digitala bitarna av det här läromedlet. I lärarwebben, som då är komplement till den tryckta boken, eller i det digitala lärarmaterialet till det digitala lärarmaterialet, så finns det någonting som jag tycker ni absolut inte får missa. Det är unit starters. Det är presentationer som ska hjälpa till för att väcka intresse och skapa förförståelse. De består av 6 bilder och 6 ord där man kan klicka på varje bild, och när man gör det så kommer det upp en fråga med en bild. Det kommer oftast 2 frågor till varje bild och 2 frågor till varje ord. Så ett lite lustfullt sätt att starta ett ämnesområde med. Det här basic training som Marina pratade om, det är ju ett material som då finns i elevwebben eller i det digitala läromedlet som jag har tagit skärmbilder här, så ser man texten ligger här till vänster, det är bastexten, men basic training ligger som en skuggsida, en andra sida till detta. Och det är då antingen en kortare variant som är inspelad ljudfil, eller här i det här fallet som exempel här så är det en presentation, alltså en kortare variant med mer bildstöd. Det finns också basic training i form av filmer, och man kan ju använda dem för hela gruppen också om man vill det. Men det är tänkt för dem som, när man börjar med bastexten i helklass, det är vårt förslag i varje fall, så säger vi att de elever som känner att det här var lite i svåraste laget, då jobbar de med basic training först. Och där är ju uppgifter till basic training på en då enklare nivå. När man är färdig med basic training går man tillbaka och jobbar med bastexten och de övningar som följer till den. De elever som börjar med bastexten och tycker det är lagom nivå, de går vidare till part 2-texten. Så då kan man hålla ihop undervisningen fastän eleverna jobbar på lite olika nivåer på detta vis. I årskurs 4-5 har vi också lite mer lekfullt sätt att träna glosor. Det finns då i elevwebben eller i det digitala läromedlet, och det är så här exempel på memory eller kategorisera ord och så. Det är lite enklare men roligare ordträning. I årskurs 6 går vi över till de övningsformer som finns för de äldre årskurserna. I boken, i slutet på varje unit, så finns en uppslag som heter Choose your sparks. I det digitala läromedlet så heter det My own choice. Och det är också extra uppgifter som kan användas för fördjupning eller för att när man vill nivåanpassa på något vis. När man vill jobba extra med något så kan man gå in på basic choice. Det är då extra uppgifter kopplade till de här part 1-texterna. Och de som heter tricky choice eller de som är kopplade till part 2, de är till de part 2-texterna, men de kan vara rejält utmanande och omfattande. Om man har elever som behöver stora utmaningar så kan man hitta det bland de här uppgifterna. Då är det väl tid för Jeremy.
Yes. Okay, now it's time for us to listen to Jeremy. Jeremy, can you hear me?
I can hear you loud and clear.
Oh, very well. Okay. A warm welcome to Jeremy Taylor, the author of Sparks textbook and Gleerups engelska. The stage is yours.
Okay, thank you very much, Marina and Monica.
Okay, just let me know when you want me to change the slide, and I will do that for you, if I succeed.
Thank you very much. I'd like to thank all the teachers who've turned up today. I believe the weather is not too bad in Sweden, so hopefully we can all go out and enjoy some sunshine later. I hope this will benefit you, and perhaps more importantly, will benefit your students when you get some more ideas of how to use the material. I haven't been in Sweden for a while because of COVID, but luckily I have something here which will hopefully remind me of my lovely time in Sweden. I haven't opened it yet, but I'm looking forward to trying. Okay, Marina, can we have the first slide, please?
Yes, we will. There you go.
Thank you very much. Okay, this, as Monica mentioned, is the unit starter from Book 4, Sparks 4, the very first unit. What I like to do with the unit starter, I think some teachers, they just flick ahead to the real start of the unit. I like to start here, like a good trailer for a film telling you the action that's going to happen. I like to use that as a kind of springboard so that the teacher can whet the appetite of the pupils who will be looking at the material. Who is that woman? What is she wearing there? And the guy in the green jacket, is it a boy or a man? He doesn't look, he looks a bit, what's the word? Oh, nervous, that's right. He looks a bit nervous, doesn't he? Why is he nervous? What makes you nervous? You probably have some students who are quite weak at English. We've got plenty of scope for them. Words like inside, outside, maybe not too difficult for them. You can ask them about the book. What color is the book? What's the name of the book? Can you see a door? Is there a door in the classroom? What color is the door? Is it blue? There's some nice simple things. If you have students who are a lot better at English, maybe the guy in that wheelchair, what's he got? It looks like a ball. Is it a basketball? I had a very interesting discussion with some people about basketball for people in wheelchairs. Should people who don't use wheelchairs be allowed to play basketball in wheelchairs? Some people say, yes, that's great that they can join in with their friends in wheelchairs. And other people said, no, it's terrible because imagine what it's like for the people in the wheelchairs when at the end of the game, some of the players stand up and walk away, how much that must hurt. So I think it's these kind of little pictures, you can get so much dialogue generated from them. Okay, Marina, can we have the next one, please?
Yes.
Here's the very first unit of the book here. Yes, we're going to read the text, but what I'd like to do is to play with the text first. For example, find a number. Can you look through the text and find a number? Quickly. They're not really reading the text, they're just looking through for a number there. Can you find a word with more than 7 letters? Away they go scanning through that text, looking for those particular words. If you do this 3, 4, 5 times, can you find 3 words that begin with the same letter? Away they go searching through. It's surprising how much of the text they've already seen before you actually go for the reading of it. I think quite a fun technique is for you to read the text for them, but to make mistakes, deliberate mistakes. For example, hello there, my name is Hada, I am 76 years, sorry, what's the problem? Oh, she's not 70, oh, sorry, she's 26, okay. And I teach maths and geography, etc. The students will scream, no, no, because they're following it as they're reading. I think it's so important for them to have some task to do while they're listening. And I think you making deliberate mistakes is a fun way of doing that. Of course, Gleerups have audio, so you can play a native speaker recording of the text, which can be quite important. I have a friend who's a Swedish teacher, and we were looking at a picture of, I think it was a garden scene, and in the foreground of the picture, I hope you can see these little flowers. I don't know if you know the name in English. She was quite surprised to hear that they're called dandelions. She said, I've been teaching English in Sweden for 5 years, and I thought they were called dandelions. So I'm really looking forward to meeting one of her students who calls this plant dandelions. More importantly, if you use the audio supplied by us, then you will hear the correct pronunciation of all the words there. Personally, I don't think it matters if you have a Swedish accent, if you make a few little errors. I really don't think that's important. What I like to see is fluency. I worked in France for 5 years, and they study English probably as many hours as they do in Sweden. But at the end, when they're 17, 18 years old, oh, my English very bad. Whereas Swedish, I've talked to young Swedes, and it's amazing how good their English is, partly because of their confidence. Can we have the next slide, please, Marina?
Yes.
As this is the part 2 text. Now you see a familiar character there, the guy in the wheelchair. But I think it's important. If you think, oh, my students are much too weak, they can't cope with these longer texts in the part 2s, you don't need to do them. I've been teaching for 30 years now, and I don't feel it's necessary to do every text. If I find a text that I think my students would find too difficult or too easy, or perhaps it's just not very interesting, or if it's about a car crash and somebody in the class had a car accident recently, maybe you'd like to not do that particular text. So don't feel any obligation to do every text in the book there. In the talk about it section, which I think Monica showed you earlier, it says there are a number of animals in the text. Which ones do you like? I like the idea of them taking all the animals that are mentioned in the text and then ranking them. Which one would they most like as a pet? So in their little groups, they are discussing, debating, coming up with their list of the order in which they think would be suitable as a pet. Fine, next slide, please.
Yes.
Thank you very much. When I was, it's a number of years ago, I cycled through Denmark, up through Norway and Sweden, up to Nordkap. When I was in Denmark, I went into a shop because I'd heard of something called romkugler, little sweet balls of something. But I went into a bakery and there was a 10-year-old girl there. And I said, can you speak English? And I saw her think for a little while, and then she said, yes, I can. I just love that confidence that she believed that she, yes, was capable of speaking English. Now, how did she get there? Whereas the French students I mentioned earlier are struggling with their, maybe, yes, with their English, but also their belief in their ability to speak English. So we have some top tips for the students there, and I think they're important for the students and for teachers as well. When you're speaking English, don't worry so much about your mistakes. The more you speak, the fewer mistakes you will make. I think that is just so important. Get out there, speak, speak, speak as much as possible, you and them. Reading is there as well. I love reading. You might be able to see 1 or 2 books behind me. I think reading is a great way. If you can, get a lot of easy books for your students to read so that they don't try to give them Shakespeare or Dickens or anything. Give them books that they can read and enjoy at their level. I think the more you read, the more you'll be exposed to new language, which I think is a great thing for learners of English. Same thing goes with listening, and you might have heard of MPGs. If you haven't, your students have multiplayer games where on the internet they have to team up to work together to shoot some aliens or to rob a bank or something, and they have to cooperate with other people, usually using English. And there was quite a while that girls were much stronger than boys. But now boys who in some countries play computer games more than girls, their English is actually improving because of computer games. So maybe they're not all bad there. The last one there is get a pen friend. They're probably electronic pen friends these days, but I think it is quite nice for them to get not only to improve their English, but also their cultural knowledge, to find out more about another country. And who knows, maybe one day they could visit that friend in Canada, Australia, New Zealand, or wherever. Okay, next slide, please. Here we have Susie and Josh. We have 2 texts. This is from the Sparks 5. The texts are a bit longer there. How about getting one student to read the Susie, or one half of the class to read the Susie texts and one half to read the Josh texts? Then they can get together and exchange that information. The people who read about Josh try to give as much information to the people who read about Susie and vice versa. You can then ask questions. So you'll find out, did they all understand the texts, and were they able to effectively communicate that information to another student. I think that's a fun way to work with the text there. One other thing on this one, they talk about it down the bottom there. It says some people are happy to work, are happy on their own. What activities can you enjoy without friends? Of course, there are lots of things that they can do, but I think most people have friends, most people enjoy playing football, singing, etc. But there are some people who are maybe a little quieter, they prefer maybe doing some artwork, listening to music, maybe making music. And so it's a little shout out for those people that we haven't forgotten about you, and we're putting ourselves in your shoes. I think that's quite a fun thing to do. Again, if your students are having problems, don't forget down at the bottom of the page, you have vocabulary. In years 4 to 6, it's all English into Swedish. We have Swedish translations. We always have fights when we're planning a book. We ask teachers, what do you want? Would you like English? Would you like English, just an English word? Or would you like English Swedish? We always get some teachers who say, I want English Swedish. I will not buy your books if you don't have English Swedish. Other teachers say, I want English. It's ridiculous having Swedish words there. I won't buy your book if the Swedish is there. You can imagine it's quite a difficult situation that we find ourselves in. So we've decided in years 4, 5, 6, it's English Swedish. In 7, 8, 9, those of you who are using the older the books for older pupils, you'll find we gradually phase it out. So it starts off with Swedish and then English translations and then just the English words. Anything more on that one? No. Can I have the next slide, please?
Absolutely.
There it goes. So this is the part 2 text. I like this text. It's part of the text is actually true. I don't know if you've seen this text before, but I think a fun thing to do is to look at the pictures. What is the hands doing there? What is something? Is that a train? I think something there. And then look at the vocabulary down at the bottom. Just looking at the vocabulary, what could the story be about? We got the words journey, cell phone, dangerous, handstand. Where's the story there? What I love, I don't know if you're familiar with the work of Ken Robinson, a British educationalist who sadly died, I think last year. He was a very big fan of creativity. And he said, it's amazing how young children are very creative. And as they go through the education system, they become less and less creative. They are told, here are the answers. Yes, this is right. Yes, this is, no, that is wrong. I think that's so sad. I think it's so nice when you're able to debate things with your children and there is no correct answer. If they think the story might involve a dangerous person on a train journey who calls a bank to steal some money, well, that's fine. That's a lovely idea, and you can praise them for it. So I do try very hard not to say, no, that's wrong. Try to keep them motivated and interested and keep that creativity alive. Right. There's the case of Christian the Lion is mentioned in that text. I don't know if you've heard of Christian the Lion. If you have, or if you'd like to know more, there is a beautiful YouTube clip of, it is a true story, of Christian the Lion and what happened when he was released back into Africa. So please, once you've read that unit, as I often encourage the students to do, go and have a look. Find out, is this story true or not true? I think it's this one that mentions, is it this one? It is this one. Is it true or is it fake news? I think so many people these days, they are fake news. You might be aware of a certain American president who anything that was bad about him, he would say, that's fake news, that's fake news. But there is a lot of fake news out there, but there's a lot of true stories as well. How are the students supposed to know what is true and what is not true? Which leads us on to the next slide. Please, Marina. Thank you. Oh, no, it's not yet. It's a little while. Did we jump to there?
Did I go to?
Oh,
This
okay.
is the next one.
The next one, okay, I'm sorry, fine. This is the unit starter for the Spark 6. Again, you've got that range of pictures, random sort of design that I think young people like. There's a word there that I didn't know until I started writing it. It was given to me by my co-writer, Katerina. The word cosplay apparently is very, very popular with young people. You might have heard of that. If you don't know what cosplay is, then I recommend you have a look at Spark 6 and find out all about it. Again, we've got things for the weaker students and for the stronger students. They probably know the word vegetarian. You can ask them, are you vegetarian? Why are you? Why aren't you? Do you know any vegetarians? What do they eat? What can they eat? And what can't they eat? We've got a girl on the left wearing some quite unusual clothes there. And what is she carrying there? Something, is it bread? I'm not quite sure. What's the name of that thing she's holding? It's a basket, isn't it? Why isn't it in a plastic bag like most people have these days? Maybe all will be revealed later on in the unit there. I'm trying to whet their appetite to find out more about what's going on. The word influencer there is another one that is a fairly new word. And there was the thing about jobs earlier. Apparently, many young people in Britain, they want to be, when they grow up, it used to be, when I was at school, it was, I want to be a professional footballer. These days, it's, I want to be an influencer. People who just want to sit there on YouTube or whatever saying, buy this product, it's really good. Buy this new computer game, this makeup, this whatever it might be, and they get paid by the manufacturers there. So yeah, quite a nice job if you can get it there. Also in this unit, you will section at the top there, use your critical thinking skills. I think critical thinking is so important for children. I've mentioned that once or twice before, I think. So I think we need to move to the next slide to find out.
Yes.
There we go. Okay. This is about headlines. So we're looking at sort of newspaper style things there, where there are 4 stories and 4 headlines. The students have to match up the headlines and the texts. Rather than just saying, read it through and do it, why not give 4 students the headlines and 4 students the text, or in their little groups of 8, and they can work out together by talking to try to find out which headline matches with which text. I think that's a lot more fun than just everybody just reading through the whole of the text together there. Yes, when they're working together like that, it's something that I'm a very big fan of, cooperative learning. I think that's such a great thing for children, to learn to work as a team rather than as individuals. Work as a team. I think it's great for them. There was something, yes, there was the 4 events, and one of the questions in the talk about it, rank them according to how sad they are. So again, they have to work together and rank those different events. I love ranking things. I think there's so much you can do with ranking. Looking at various jobs, and then you decide what job would you most like to do, what job would you least like to do. I think that's a great thing. And again, there are no wrong answers. Everybody can say something, and it won't be wrong, because if they really want to be an influencer, then that's entirely up to them. I think we got one more. Can we have one more, please?
One more. I think there is one more. Let me see. Yes, I think this is the last one.
It is, yeah. Here we have 8 tips for them, because I think it is our job as teachers to try to help students navigate this very difficult world of the digital world in which we now live. There are so many things out there. As you can see, there's a big thing about clickbait there, but trying to, how do they know what's true and what's not true? We can't do everything for them, but we can do our best to hold their hands in a very difficult world, in the digital world. Right, I think that's all I'd like to say at the moment. I hope you can see my passion that I have for teaching and for writing and for helping the young people and the teachers. I hope you and the pupils can work together and have a great time and accidentally improving their English so they can pass their exams. Thank you very much for listening. Thank you very much for being here. I think I'm going to hand it back to Marina now.
Yes, and I will stop sharing this presentation for a bit. Thank you so very much, Jeremy, for all the interesting input on how to use the textbooks in the classroom. I am absolutely sure that a lot of teachers now want to get started working on the materials as soon as possible with their pupils. Of course, we are interested now to see if there are any questions. No, and since there are no questions, I guess that your presentation, Jeremy, was so full of information and inspiring things. So, well, in that case, I would like to say thank you so very much again to you, Jeremy, and I will share the screen again. And now I will go back to Swedish. Så, okej. Där. Då så. Är det nu då så att det är några av er som är mer intresserade av att titta närmare på materialet, så kommer ni alla få ett ska man säga, provkit på smakprov på Sparks 4, tror jag det är. Ja. Och är ni nyfikna på att kika mer på det redan direkt, så kan ni gå in på gleerups.se och bläddra i de digitala smakproven. Vill ni testa Gleerups engelska 4-6, så går ni även in på hemsidan och så kan man prova det gratis i 30 dagar. Men anmäler man sig i så fall på hemsidan. Så, och har ni frågor som gäller tekniska saker, så kan ni alltid kontakta Gleerups support på info@gleerups.se. Och vill ni diskutera innehåll närmare, så får ni väldigt gärna kontakta mig, Marina Walker, marina.walker@gleerups.se. Och så vill jag tacka för ert visade intresse och för att ni har varit med oss här idag. Lycka till och ha det så bra. Hej då!